Let me tell you a process which is something you could consider and works very well for me when you want to approach transformation with artificial intelligence. And this is good for medium-sized business, and a big-sized business. It's not for startups for sure. So if you're a startup owner, this is not for you. But this is if you are a medium-sized business owner or leadership member, or you are part of a huge organization, this is the proven process I've been conducting many times. So first of all, you want to make sure you grasp strategy overview of those functions and processes and activities that you potentially want to transform with artificial intelligence. What is means function? Usually companies are divided to 5 functions, which is marketing and sales, or marketing or sales. There is a production / service providing. There is administration, which is usually made of financial department, HR department, IT department. And then we have logistics, which is usually supply chain management, orders fulfillment, and transportation. And I said 5, but I mentioned 4, depends if you put and between marketing and sales, or you consider IT as a part of administration. In all these 5 functions, we have processes. Those processes are there to provide specific outcomes. So for instance, a process of transportation is to move goods from A to B within a time window. That's the process. In this process, you have activities. Those activities are divided into specific roles and outputs. So for instance, one of the activities might be exporting orders into external systems. To conduct successful AI transformation, we've got to grasp all of it. Here, we got to study process maps. We got to study process activities which are in those maps, get KPIs that companies are monitoring, like for instance time for fulfillment of the order, and several different issues. So that will help you to understand when the company is processing, what are the activities there that you potentially can disrupt with artificial intelligence, and what you are seeking in terms of KPIs. So that's the step number 1. And to grab that overview, strategic overview of that, you need to conduct management workshop. Usually the workshops are great to conduct using Trello, using Miro, or other software that helps you to work interactively with board of directors members. By board of directors, a C-level suite that is capable of changing the company direction. You don't want to have here people that are middle managers. That's the second step. Second step, it's talking to middle managers. Depending on the company size, it might be a few of them, or it might be a dozen of them, or even more. How you do that? I personally think the best way is a structured meeting. The structured meeting is a meeting that you conduct according to the agenda, is the survey that you open during the meeting and ask questions that are in the survey. So the surveys should be 2 of them. One is qualitative and second is quantitative. The qualitative is asking mostly open questions that helps you to get the flavor and the information around things. People can express themselves, give you more information, give you things about things that are hard to find in the processes, like satisfaction with something, or unsatisfactory software they use, and things like that. The structure, the second survey, is drop down or checkbox. So basically it's full of closed questions, like for instance, what is the main process in the company responsible and how many activities you do in that process per week, 5, 10, 15 or 20. Even if that person cannot answer precisely, we force that person to pick up one thing. It's just to narrow down the options. We don't want it to swim into qualitative answers only, because then the output will be qualitative, and we don't want that, which I will tell you in a minute. After those surveys, you start to analyze them. So you pull up the spreadsheet, you put all the answers and categorize them with numeric answers and text answers. All the numeric answers should be giving you a direction for change. So for instance, you want to ask how many orders per week the order unit gets. Let's say it's 50. How much time it takes them to process them, how many of them are processed manually, let's say 60%, and how much time they need for one order. Using that, you can have really great breakdown of any activity in any process, so you can calculate how much that costs the company in terms of time and money. For that, you need obviously a number of years per year they work, numbers of hours per day they work, number of hours per month they work, number of days per month, and average salary per hour, unless you want to specify that for the specific position, so then you can build a whole list of salaries per hour. That's the next step. And the other step is to calculate how much it takes today. For instance, how much it takes to prepare the predictive maintenance orders. So you need to spend, for instance, $70,000 per month, which required 40 days of work the one person, and you combine that and you know how much it costs. The next step is to either find how you can improve that from your experience, or use benchmarks, or use former calculations. Usually companies don't have former calculations because AI is a new thing and nobody had the history of that. So you gotta look for benchmarks. Then you gotta find the closest possible benchmark provided by the high quality companies like McKinsey, BCG, Ivy League universities, or the institutes around the world that are famous for calculating things accurately. If you grab that benchmark, you can find that, for instance, minimum, and I always like to take a minimum number, 30% of emails can be automated by generative AI, which means that if you calculate that they process 1,000 emails per year, your saving is going to be 300 emails. If that email is called 300 minutes, and divide that by 60 minutes, which give you an hour, and by that you are going to process the information around this. And essentially you get the point how you can calculate those things here. And then you got savings. You also need to look for other things that you're going to change, like productivity. For instance, if you start automating the process of answering orders and fulfilling orders, you will get for sure increase of net promoter score and customer satisfaction. So based on the benchmarks, you can also share how much this is going to change. And based on that, you have an overall idea of which change will bring what kind of costs, savings, and qualitative change. You prioritize them, you pick up two, and you're ready for AI transformation. And that's the great plan, very down to the earth numeric you should be getting done if you want to conduct successful process.